I want you to think back to the first time you ever remember being truly afraid. What was it? Does it stick with you today? This is the sort of thing that we talk about on the House of Asher. Won't you join us? The House of Asher, a clearinghouse for the mind.
Hey, and welcome to another webisode of House of Asher. I am your host, Steve Asher, and what I want to talk to you about today is just some weird things that happened to me when I was younger. And it really, well, I want to call it a dream, but it wasn't exactly a dream. There's elements of reality tied into it. Excuse me. And okay, well, I'll tell you about the earliest thing first. All right, the first thing was I was probably, I don't know, 10 years old, maybe 10 or 11, and this had been, it was summertime, you know. I was off school, so I was sleeping in, and anyway, I was sleeping in my room, and I had this really weird dream. I remembered in my dream coming to and looking around my room, and it looked really different. It was sort of like a thatched hut, really simple, something you'd see kind of like 9th or 10th century Europe, maybe not quite Viking, but, kind of serf, peasant surroundings. It was not a grand castle. It was not opulent in the least. So it was very simple. And I heard this noise, the sound of the metal clanging, and I just knew that there was some fighting going on somewhere. Something was going on. Well, I got up and I could hear the voice of my brother Mike, and Michael was my brother that's closest to me in relation to age. He's a little bit older than me. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a head cold. I apologize. So anyway, I get up and I'm looking through, like, there's like maybe 2 small rooms and a food cupboard or something. So anyway, I'm looking around trying to find my brother, and then I hear the screams coming louder, and it's out toward the back of the home. So I go to the back wall of the little hut house, and instead of like a sliding window or raising window with blinds, or even a like a simple hand-blown glass, primitive glass window, it had like a little flap that you could flip up, and had like a little stick that you could bend down and it would hold it open, for airflow or light or whatever. So anyway, I'm start looking outside, looking on the ground. I don't know what's going on. And I look out. It's probably 30, 40 feet ahead of me. My brother's down on his back. There's 3 or 4 of these. Well, I'm kind of at a loss to tell you what they were. These things were very large in relation to my brother, who was, probably 15 or 16 years old. My brother was kind of a lanky, tall guy, but these things were, okay, let's say if he was 5'7", 5'8" at the time. These things were solid 6'5", built like linebackers, like no necks, just square, like little Hulk type looking guys. And they were very formless in regards of, they didn't cast much light. They were almost like shadows or shades or whatever you want to call it. So, and he's hollering for help, and this being my brother, I'm thinking, I gotta help my brother. I didn't know where everybody else was. They could be dead as far as I knew, but I knew, hey, I have to get up there and help my brother. And so I go rushing for the back door. As I'm going into the back door, um, I push open this kind of, again, very primitive wooden type door that would have like the little catch on the inside so you couldn't pull it open. Very early European peasant hut esque type of dwelling. Well, I ease the door open. That way, I'm thinking I could sneak up on these guys, maybe grab one of them, give my brother a chance to come up, and rock them, sock them a little bit. And at the time, this seemed very, very real. There was no playtime in this. This was really happening to me in my mind, and it was very, very scary because I feared for my brother. Being a little kid, I wasn't even thinking about me because you're just thinking I gotta protect my brother. Regardless, I go ahead and push the door open, and I'm getting ready to step out onto the small steps that go down to the backyard. Well, as my my concentration's on the action over here, I'm not watching what's behind the door, and that was a mistake because what happens next is another creature very similar to what was on my brother um, appears, kind of shifts or materializes out of the kind of shadowed area because whenever what was going on, it was more barren looking. It may have been in like one of the like mini ice age times, in the early 19th century where it was really cold and not much grew and everything was gray. So anyway, just like if you have a car driving and it's really rainy or foggy, they say turn your lights on because you're not going to see. Well, as I do this thing appears, and before I have time to react, when I see this thing like that, um, it jams me really hard into my right thigh, about 4 inches from my groin, kind of midway between my knee and my groin. And this thing was, you would think it would be a dagger or a short sword or a spear or, heck, man, a pike, or there's just a whole gaggle of different weapons, medieval weapons they could use on you, but it wasn't anything like that. It was very, very bright, highly reflective metal, and it's about that long, very similar to a. Have you ever seen like the barbecue, or not the barbecue, either barbecue or hot dog skewers? They would usually have um, two parallel lines of metal and a little piece of metal that goes on both of them. You can slide one of the meat is off. Similar to that, but it was single piece of metal. There, none of that other part was there, and it almost looked like it was hollow, almost like the type of thing you would say take a core sample of something or core out of maybe to do a biopsy or something. Anyway, it looked more like a medical tool than it did a weapon. But regardless, it's like it stunned me as it stabbed me. Because I don't remember bleeding. It almost, I don't know if it cauterized it or what, but I froze up. And I remember looking at that, and then I turned up and looked at whatever this creature was. Uh, big, wide, crazy grin, and his eyes were, well, his eyes, Jesus, there was no visible pupils. They were just like opaque white, but there was like just glowing like a halogen bulb. But they were just, it was almost hypnotic. And then of course all this happened within like split seconds. But what happened after that? I fell back. I'm kind of going back into the far right corner of the hut, and I bumped into like a cabinet that had onions or something, and there was like a little basket with potatoes. So anyway, boom, all that goes falling every which way. And I understand, chickens are squawking. They had little chicks and chickens are walking around in the building, I guess, to keep warm, keep weasels from getting them overnight or something. Because like I said, there's a time difference. It was kind of a pre-morning or twilight when all this went down, or it appeared that way. It's hard to tell. with all the overcast. But boom, I woke up in like real time. So I'm sitting there, and you know that feeling when you first get up, like, oh my God, what was that? And so I'm sitting there for a second, and I go to kind of turn and toss my legs off the bed and kind of try to get up. Well, that wasn't happening. As I tried to stand up, my right leg buckled to the point I kind of went onto the bedside little shelf, or what you want to call it, and I caught myself, and I pushed myself back on the bed. Well, I was sitting there, not really sure what to make of it, thinking, "Wow, man, I must have slept really weird or something on my leg or whatnot." So as I'm rubbing on my leg, I noticed it was achy, almost in the same spot. And at first I thought, man, somehow or another I must have turned and banged my leg really hard on my cabinet, which would be exceedingly hard because it was up by my head. I would have had to done like a somersault in my bed. Well, the thing that was weirder about that, I looked down at my leg, and there was maybe a 1/8 inch cut in my sleeping pants. I was sleeping in blue jogging pants. I remember really, really vividly. But there was no indentation. There was no cut. There was no bruise or anything in my leg. But still, my paralysis stayed there for, I would say, 35, 45 minutes. And finally I got up, walked around and kind of shook it off. And, you could still kind of feel a weirdness. And it was like, like if you had a really bad Charlie horse or something, or a muscle cramp, even if it's gone, it's just like, I could come back. It stayed that way a couple hours. I don't really remember another dream like that occurring. So I'm thankful for that. And it was super weird. I shared it with my brother, and he just kind of laughed it off. And understand, I was a kid, which I'm not a drug guy anyway, or a drinking guy, or nothing like that. We hadn't watched, something related to that kind of scenario in a movie the night before, or anything. It was just a normal, regular 10-year-old kid type morning. And but yeah, for some reason I never let go of that, because it stayed with me, especially like the really big wide eyes and stuff like that, which kind of played off into my writing and my artwork and things like that. Even, well, creepy stuff I got on the walls over here, where it's, the big wide looking eyes, and it's off-putting. I think it's cool, and it's interesting, and draws me too. So is that thing, it scares you, but you're interested in it. It's just usually the things that stay with you. The other thing I was going to mention before I get too late was, as I was a little bit older, this area of Western Kentucky in Caldwell County, a lot of people would go driving old roads. A lot of people would go partying and all that. That wasn't really me. Me and my friend, we would listen to music. We would listen to everything from, Mojo Nixon, the Pogues, the Dead Kennedys, AC/DC, man, Waylon Jennings stuff. I mean, anything and everything. Devo, just really eclectic, odd mix of whatever, because that's just how we were. We were friends from way different backgrounds. Me and my friend Lee were just like that. He was a very country talking, belt buckle, cowboy hat dude, and I was more of a rock kid and more of a this and that, but it seemed to click. But regardless, we'd go driving around. Well, even if you're drinking soda, bouncing up and down those country roads, eventually you're going to have to stop somewhere. Well, obviously if there's a restaurant or something like that, you would stop and go use inside facilities. But sometimes when you're 8-10 miles out in the county, there aren't any houses. A guy's going to find a tree to duck in behind, or a guy's going to find a bush to stand in, or whatever. Well, my friend, he took this side of the truck down this way on the driver's side. So I kind of walked off a little bit in the woods, give him a little privacy and stuff. And, I myself could have a little privacy. And so I'm using the bathroom. Well, that feeling where you're just sitting somewhere and slowly you start getting that feeling that something's behind me, or I feel like something's behind me. Well, I'm doing my thing, and I just kind of glance real easy over my shoulder. Well, I see something kind of moving in the foreground, or in the background rather, and okay, so I just kind of zip up my pants, and I real easily turn about. Well, I couldn't quite make out if it was a coyote or a wild dog or some sort of wolf hybrid or what, but it's pretty big animal, and it was just sitting there staring at me. It wasn't down like this. It wasn't in a defensive posture, and it wasn't actually cocked its head like it was curious. It was just like, you're not supposed, what are you doing here? You're not of the woods, really, So, and I just remember going, yeah, well, never run from a wild animal, and I'm far enough away, it would probably get me before I got to the car anyway. So, I don't know why I did this. To this day, I can't explain why I did this. I just said, I'm just here visiting, not trying to cause any harm. I had to use the bathroom. Like this dog's gonna go, oh yeah, that's cool. But anyway, in my mind, I just was, thinking I need to explain my presence here. So I said, hey, look, okay, I don't mean you any harm. I'm just gonna close my eyes. Okay, I'm just gonna close my eyes because I'm not gonna have a staring contest with you because I know it's not good. And hopefully you'll just do your thing and go on or whatever. So anyway, I closed my eyes and I kind of don't hear it move for a minute. And I'm thinking, man, this is sucking so bad. And after a minute, I didn't hear any more sound. So my eyes and whatever it was gone. And I'm like, okay, time to go, time to go. So I'm scooting down the hill. By this time, my friends get back to the truck. And I was like, did you see anything shoot down the hill from where I was at? And it's like, no, not at all. And I said, I'm not sure what I saw, but it was watching me really hard. So anyway, I finally, I get up out of there. And, that never really happened to me again. I mean, I've seen a lot of sightings of owls landing and birds and stuff like that. And being in the country, you're going to see raccoons and possums and hedgehogs and, good God, a whole myriad of different creatures. But it was just certain times you bump into things, and it's just like it's not the normal way of bumping into them, or their behaviors might be slightly off. And I don't mean rabid or something like that. Just, I don't know. It was not like your ordinary type encounter with that type of creature. But anyway, I'm curious what you think. I'm curious if you guys have ever had experiences like this. And if you have, how did you handle it? And what was the outcome? Did it stay with you like it did me? Did it scare you to the point maybe you didn't venture into the woods? Or have you had really weird dreams like that seemed extremely real and tangible? You mean you could smell the hay that was tossed on the floor of an old barn? Or could you, remember the scent of the pipe tobacco or cherry wood in a grand manor you were at? Possibly. Get back with me. Message me on here. You can always reach me at, this is all lowercase and together, steveeasher.com. There's no dots or hyphens or spaces, all together, steveeasher.com. Please sign up to my page. As well as you guys know, I'm a writer. I'm also, let me get over here, an artist. I do t-shirts and stuff like that. Please get a hold of me and subscribe to the page and let me know what you think and give me some ideas and about some different things you might want to see me do shows or interviews about. Or maybe you got some really cool guests you think would be great to have on. Let me know. I do want to say thanks to Posh Embroidery in Princeton. They're the people that do all my t-shirts and carry all my, hauntings of, because I have a series of hauntings of, which I have hauntings of Kentucky State Penitentiary. I have hauntings of the Western Lunatic Asylum, which is now out and available on pre-order. It will be in bookstores February 26th or 28th, I believe. And I just want to say thank you to all the guys that's had me on your shows and have been kind enough to ask me back and try to offer support and give me ideas and support on this. But like I said, and if you want to get a hold of me, you can contact me directly at my personal email, all lowercase together, ILASHERS at yahoo.com. That's eyelashes at yahoo.com. And have a good day. Enjoy all the stuff that's going on out there, all the sunlight. But as twilight comes and the world slows down, as you're getting ready to shut it down for the night, lock that back door, check on your closet and your bed, make sure all your creepy little doll figurines and clowns are put away, if you even have them. If you do, throw them away. Maybe something, whatever you put in that. And most importantly of all, stay scary.